Welcome back to Geography Unpacked. So today we are going to continue on the discussion on the karst landscape, and I have Calcifer with me today who is going to hold my mic, and we might need his warmth as he's a fire demon as we are leaving the sunlit earth surface and finally going to enter the karst cave, which is cold and wet. But before we dive into the karst caves, we have a few erosional features which are left. So let's discuss them first and then we'll go into the depositional features. So the first one among them is Lapies. So if you look at this part of the diagram, you will see that the ground looks, it has been combed. So the rain has trickled into these little cracks in between, widening them and dissolving them, and only the sharp jagged ridges remain. This is a harsh and beautiful terrain where the rock looks like it has been frayed. So these are the Lapies. And then we have the Karst Window. An underground river has carved a massive tunnel below, and suddenly a part of the cave collapses and there is literally a window formed. So you can look down through this hole and you can see the river running far below. This is the Karst Window. It's literally a peek into the world underground. Then we have the natural bridges. So while everything around it vanishes, this stays as a bridge. Like you can see in this diagram that literally everything around it has collapsed and only this part has remained, which looks almost like a bridge. And finally, we have the cave, which is the ultimate erosional features done by the solubility of the groundwater in a limestone region. So this is where the story changes. Remember the chemistry part from the last video? Yeah, here it is. The rock was liquid and was traveling as calcium bicarbonate. But as the water drips from the ceiling of the cave, it encounters a new atmosphere. It loses its carbon dioxide and breathes out, and then what happens is chemical reaction reverses. The liquid becomes solid again. The ghost of the rock returns to its physical world. This is a depositional phase. It's a slow, patient work like how we are dealing with the discussion of karst landscape now. So if you look at the diagram, you will notice that there are certain pillars which are hanging from the ceiling. These are called the stalactites. So when the tiny drop of water hangs from here, it loses a bit of its carbon dioxide and finally evaporates, leaving behind a bit of calcite, which over the thousands of years grows like stone icicles. And below the surface, you can see some other pillars. These are called the stalagmites. It's the same way when the water drop reaches the floor, it evaporates, leaving behind a little bit of calcite, which over time derives into this pillar-like form known as stalagmite. And finally, when the stalactite and the stalagmite grows and they meet at a point where they form this column-like structure, it is called a pillar and the column. So that was the story of the karst topography. It's almost like a cycle. It begins with the solution of limestone rocks in rainwater, and eventually it travels being soluble form of calcium bicarbonate, and it returns back to its solid form as deposited in the limestone cave. So what dissolves in the rainwater vanishes, again reappears in the underground cave. I hope this discussion helped you see the karst landscape more than a geographical feature, much like a living, breathing creature, much like a human lifespan which has a beginning and has an end. So for examination purpose, remember this flow from the beginning, like how the dissolution began, how the chemical reaction formed, finally how it flows, and finally it ends with deposition in forms of stalactite and stalagmite. So it will help, if you remember it as a story, it will actually help you remember and recall back when you are writing an examination, be it UPSC, be it your undergrad examination, or be it NET, as it will help you remember the why behind every line, write or you draw. Thank you for spending time with me and listening to me, and I'll see you next time.